Afflictions. He does not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men. My dear friend, since I sent my last letter to you, I have been passing through a severe and trying ordeal, which is the cause of my long silence. God in His wisdom has seen fit to give me many draughts of bitters from which I have not been able to escape. I suppose He sees a necessity for my present adversity, or He would order things differently for me. For some time past, my temporal trials have been severe, and in addition to those things that are without, darkness has rested upon my soul, and I have found no comforter, for according to my apprehensions, quote, He that should relieve my soul was far from me, unquote. Lamentations 1:16. Under the combined influence of this twofold trial, I sank deep into the pit of despondency. I cried unto the Lord, but for the time being He refused to answer me. No sweet promise came to cheer me, no cordial to revive my drooping spirits. I tried to comfort myself with the remembrance of past deliverance, but the attempt failed. The recollection of the past was like a dream, and like a dream it vanished, being insufficient to support my soul in the furnace of affliction. Satan, beholding my forlorn condition, added grief to my sorrow by enumerating the numerous obstacles strewed in my path and the improbability of a deliverance being granted unto me. This has caused me to weep and mourn over what I consider my misfortune, until the source of weeping seemed exhausted. I then wept for weeping and cried for tears, that I might give vent to the grief pent up in my heart. This has succeeded by a sullen reserve, after which I have generally manifested the rebellion of my heart to a degree which I chose to conceal rather than attempt to describe. Such has been the influence of these things upon me, that my body has been violently agitated with the rockings to and fro of my mind. I have found no passage in the Word of God so descriptive of my condition as the following pathetic moan recorded in the book of Job. My bowels boiled and rested not. The days of affliction prevented me. I went mourning without the sun. I stood up and I cried in the congregation. I am a brother to dragons and a companion to owls. Job 30:27-29. When comfortably situated both in providence and grace, how prone we are to look upon the trials and conflicts recorded by the pen of inspiration as a mere narration of certain wonderful events which took place in those bygone days, but with which we are totally unconnected. As such is the callousness which a state of ease produces, that we feel almost as unconcerned. When God, however, lays His chastening hand upon us, it causes us to look well to the ways of our feet, and we learn those things in the school of adversity which cannot be learned in the day of prosperity, when the sun of righteousness in His meridian splendor is shining upon our tabernacle. In my judgment, I admit the necessity of the furnace, and am sensible that many rampant weeds of nature stand prominent in the requiring the pruning knife of the heavenly husbandman to sever them close to the stem. And though I feel persuaded that God does not afflict me willingly, Lamentations 3:33, nor lay upon me more than is needful for my spiritual good, yet I shrink from the conflict. Nature trembles for the issue, and in the bitterness of my grief I cry out, "Deliver me, I beseech thee, O Lord. Save me for thy name and mercy's sake, for I am brought very low." But though I have thus sunk deep into the waters of adversity, I have not been left destitute of hope. I have had a hope abiding with me which has borne the burden and the heat of the day, and has outridden the storms and the tempests which have fallen upon me. But this has not comforted me. Such has been the disorder of my mind, that I have quarreled with myself for hoping. "Ah," says unbelief, "it is all deception. The thing hoped for will never be realized." But that hope which is a fruit of the eternal Spirit rests not upon outward appearances, probabilities, or improbabilities. It centers in its divine author, and rests upon his faithfulness, while faith believes that what God has promised, he will surely perform. Two things have tended very much to support me and strengthen me during this process. One is the Lord's faithfulness to me during the past pilgrimage in this wilderness of sin. I cannot remember one instance of his ever forsaking me, but ultimately on every occasion he has delivered me. The other circumstance alluded to is this: I cannot find one instance recorded in the whole Bible of the Lord ever forsaking his people. If there were one instance, it would lay the foundation for Satan's everlasting triumph, while a poor, weak creature like myself would be overwhelmed with despair. This encourages me still to hope, and I am now raised from that state of gloom and dejection which for some time past has so severely oppressed me. I feel a crumbling down into the hands of the Lord. My eyes are looking up unto him, and my language of my soul is, "Father, may your will be done," hoping he will give me strength to bear patiently whatever he sees fit to lay upon me, as I know and believe, when in my right mind, that he will ever consider my good in all his proceedings. But such is my weakness that I feel afraid of being left without the comforting and supporting presence of my best friend. I tremble at the idea of again sinking in the pit from which I have partially escaped. But the Lord's will be done, and I have no doubt that both you and I shall see the wisdom and goodness of the Lord displayed in his present dealings with us, to a degree which as yet we have not attained to, in consequence of the darkness of our minds. However, I can say that the glory of God and the good of his people lie close to my heart. I fear you will find this a gloomy epistle, but such as it is, I send it to you. It is a feeble description of the Lord's dealings with me, and as you are not a stranger to the good old way, it will not be despised by you. I should like to hear from you. Remember me kindly to the friends whom I love in the truth, while I remain your affectionate fellow traveler, W.S. October 1st, 1850.